So joining me now on Tipp GAA TV is Elaine Harte, former Cork inter-county footballer. She has won 8 Senior All-Irelands, 9 Munster titles, 7 Division 1 league titles, 1 Division 2 league title, along with junior and intermediate club All-Irelands for her club. And she's also won 2 All-Stars in 2008, I beg your pardon, and 2012. Elaine, you're very welcome to Tipp GAA TV.
Thanks, Jonathan.
That's a fairly wide and extensive portfolio from your playing career.
Yeah, it was good times, all right. I was very lucky to be part of a very good team. You know, we gelled together, we bonded well, and I was just very lucky to be part of a great team. Yeah,
and like playing at that level at that time, as you said, with a great team, it must have taught you an awful lot in relation to, you know, preparation, getting ready for games, I suppose self-discipline as well. Obviously you got involved when you were fairly young, so you made the transition from, you know, underage to adult teams in Cork at a young age. It probably meant then that you had to curtail some of the things that younger people would like to do.
Yeah, of course. I suppose when you're involved in something that is so important to you that you don't see it as making sacrifices, I suppose we were like, you wouldn't have gone out with your friends and you needed to when the rest of your friends were going out. College life was curtailed a little bit, but I suppose we still enjoyed ourselves as well. But I suppose when we were involved with Cork, there was a phrase that we always used. It wasn't sacrifices we made winning choices, you know, and they were the choices that we were willing to make. And it wasn't just me, I suppose, the whole team were involved in it. And if you didn't make those winning choices, you were letting down your team, and you were letting down the girls and the management that had put their faith in you and their trust in you. And I suppose that was instilled in us from a very young age. And you know, it wasn't seen as something that we were sacrificing. It was just a choice that we were making, and we're more than willing to make it.
And I suppose you retired then in January 2014. That, I suppose, followed the previous year's All-Ireland success. When you played a very big part in that success yourself, I think a fairly very good performance in goal and an excellent shot stop that would have led to maybe a goal that would maybe have seen Cork losing that game. That must have been a very good way to go out. You went out in a high, really. I
suppose I did, yeah. Like it was, I was at the time, it was time to go, and I knew it was there was Martina was behind me, and she was fighting for my position at the same time. And look, there was only a hair's breadth between the two of us. I suppose my experience kind of stood up and got me the position on the day. But I suppose, look, I was lucky to have the choice to go when I decided to go. And yeah, we had a great campaign, a great year previous to that. And when you make that decision, it's much easier than the decision being forced on you. So yeah, it was a nice to be able to make that decision. I kind of knew on that All-Ireland final day that, you know, that was going to be my last, and I kind of enjoyed it all the more, and it made it even sweeter that we won, and I kind of took in that atmosphere an awful lot more than I had previous years. So I suppose I remember walking around after the final whistle, and the cup had been presented, and just trying to take it all in and soak it all in, and even at the start of the match kind of just soaking it all in, and then just forgetting about it, and then just getting on to play the match. And thankfully we came out on the right side of it, and it was a nice way to finish all right. And
it's highly documented, I suppose, that at that time you were travelling from Tipperary to Cork for training 2-3 times a week. What brought you to Tipperary, Elaine? You know, and I suppose, you know, was it difficult then the travelling up and down as well? I suppose that played a part in your decision making as well.
Yeah, well, I suppose my husband will always tell me that I won nothing until we came to Tipperary. I was living in Tipperary since 2004, so it was part of me, like since I started playing with Cork fairly seriously. We were travelling up and down the whole time. I was travelling up and down the whole time. So there's people there was people in Cork, all right, that had probably travelling longer than I was. Even Eamon was travelling a good hour to training every day as well. So I suppose because I was in a different county and a little bit further up, that people recognised that I was travelling a little bit, and Murray Kelly was coming from Dublin as well, so we would meet in Urlingford and then travel down together. So yeah, I suppose what brought me to Tipperary, I'm married a Tipperary man and I'm from Moyne, so I moved up there in 2004, and I suppose the travelling was just part of it. It's just there was no real, it wasn't a sacrifice, it was a winning choice, I suppose, that we made.
And then you moved on rather quickly then after retiring to get involved in coaching in Tipperary. In 2014 you became the manager of the minor football team, and you actually won the minor All-Ireland B final that year. So yeah, that was a great start to your managerial and coaching career.
Yeah, I suppose, well, just a point, I was a selector with a few others, so John Joe was the manager at the time. He's from Holy Cross, so he was a great man. But it was, yeah, it was a great introduction. Look, sure, again, we were very lucky to have a very good team there as well, the likes of Aisling Maloney and Roisin Howard and Aisling McCarthy and Aoife Corcoran and a few others, and a few from Niamh Butler was there from Moyne as well, so that was kind of good. From Moyne Tumbletowie. So yeah, we had a great team there. It was a great. We just enjoyed. We had great fun. Training was fun. It was a great introduction to coaching and selecting and stuff. So I enjoyed that hugely. Yeah, it was a great way to start off.
And from there, then obviously you graduated to the ladies, the senior team, where you were involved with Shane Ronan as well. That must have really been a different experience, and especially when you would have then maybe come up against being involved with Tipperary, playing against Cork.
Yeah. That was a great experience as well. Being involved with the senior team, they were a great bunch of girls, and I learned an awful lot. Shane is a super coach, and I learned an awful lot from him as well. But I suppose the big day that day was playing against Cork, and kind of torn. It was a bit of I was torn that day. Like, obviously I wanted Tipperary to win, but it was kind of hard to I was quieter that day than I was any other day, I think. But yeah, it was a great experience, and I enjoyed the journey, and we had a good all run there.
And then in January 2022, you got the call from David Power to I suppose asking you, would you like to come and get involved with the senior footballers? Was that an easy decision? Like, I mean, for you to transition then from being involved probably all your life as a player, obviously, with ladies teams, and then as a coach selector with ladies team, to move into a male dominated setup. Like, was that a difficult decision for you, Elaine?
Yeah, I suppose it was. I knew the commitment that was involved in it, and I knew it was going to be it was going to be very challenging. And I didn't know how the lads were going to respond to me or whatever. But no, once I talked to David, I knew you could see the passion. It oozes out of him. I was kind of fairly happy with what he was talking to me about, how the lads were going. And look, they're a great bunch of lads, and they welcomed me with open arms and fairness. And I suppose it wasn't a hugely difficult decision, because I suppose it was a great honour to be asked. And I took it as a huge honour, and I'm delighted that David asked me. But I suppose the one thing that I wanted to make sure that I could give the commitment, and that was what I was really had to sit down and talk to my family with and stuff, to see whether I could make the commitment. And once that was sorted out, I don't think there was any other answer, only that I would do anything that I can to help in any way.
Yeah, and so it's probably a year and a couple of months down the road now since you've joined. What have you found, I suppose, to be the most challenging aspect of your current role?
I suppose just trying to is the most challenging part. It's just making sure that the lads are understand what we want them to play, and making sure that we kind of get our tactics right, and make sure that we kind of I suppose we just kind of all just make sure that we're doing our best. There's no real challenges really that I can see that's really hard that we just can't get over. I suppose we just kind of make sure that we prepare well, we plan well, and we train well, and see what we can do after that. The lads are responding really, really well. They're giving 100% effort every time. I suppose the main thing that we want to do now is show their performance that they do on the training field, and bring it out onto the match day, because we can see them We can see them training really, really hard and working extremely hard all the time. We just need to bring that out onto the pitch now, I think, is the most important thing on match day. And that I suppose is what I find is the most challenging part, when we see how talented they are and how hardworking they are, and then it's just not showing on match day. That's probably the biggest challenge that we are facing at the moment, because they're doing everything that we're asking them. They're hardworking, they're a talented bunch. We just need to bring it out onto the pitch.
And as you said there, you know, you're at the coalface. You see how hard they're training, how hard they're preparing, and the commitment that they're making. And there has been a certain degree of criticism of the players, and that because of their, I suppose, the performances maybe haven't been what they would have wanted, what the management wouldn't have wanted, and obviously what the supporters wouldn't have wanted. But heading into the Waterford match now next weekend, like, what would you say to Tipperary supporters? Like, what message would you give to them ahead of that game? And, you know, what would your asks be of them?
I suppose the most important thing we'd like to say to them is that, look, you can't fault the lads for effort. They're giving it 100% every single time at training, every single time. Nobody wants to go out and give a bad performance. Nobody wants to go out and make mistakes. But that's life. These things happen. I suppose what I would like, and the Tipperary, the one thing that I've noticed with Tipperary football is that supporters are unbelievably good. Like, they're everywhere. They're really hard. The hardcore supporters are excellent, and they really want us to do well. And I suppose just to bring that out down to the Waterford, or for the Waterford game here in Centre Stadium, that we just kind of get behind the lads, shout them on, cheer every blocked ball, every decision that they make that's correct, cheer it on and boost them up, because what these lads, you can't fault them for effort. I suppose just to building up their confidence and making sure that we can hear you on Sunday. This is Sunday, yes. So Sunday in the stadium, that we can hear you, that we can hear the supporters, and it makes a huge effort, and it makes a huge difference, because they're making a massive effort, and they're trying their best. And
for you, as a coach, as a selector, I asked David the same question. What are your hopes? What are your ambitions for this group for the remainder of 2023?
I suppose the ambition for this group is that they reach their potential, and that they show the supporters what they can actually do. Like, I myself and the management team, we can see what they're doing, that the effort that they're putting in. We can see that they're trying extremely hard. But what I would like for these group of lads is just to show their potential on the pitch, let their performances just improve. And I think if that happens, that if they play to their potential, if they do everything that they have been doing, but just play to their potential, the performance will look after itself, and the result will look after itself once they play to their potential.
Perfect. And Elaine, I suppose, you know, we touched on it during the course of the interview. You know, you're in a very demanding role, and that's coupled obviously with your career as a primary school teacher in mine, and your own family commitments. Like, what do you do, or when do you even get time to unwind and do stuff?
I suppose we do get a small bit of time to unwind. I just enjoy spending time with my family, and thankfully now we're coming into the Easter holidays for a little bit, so we'll get a bit of more time to enjoy, to unwind and have a bit of time to yourself. But it is very demanding, and I suppose you just have to plan and prepare for that, and even the times when you're downtime, you have to plan and prepare for that too as well, you know, so that you do make the most out of it. But yeah, look, I just like to spend time with the family, go for walks and coffee and stuff with your friends and stuff as much as you can. But it is that time is limited enough. But these 2 weeks now will be quite a nice time to chill out and relax.
Perfect. And just to finish up then, Elaine, you know, there has been much talk about the integration of the GAA, the Camogie and ladies football. Like, do you think it's a realistic ambition, and what do you feel are the biggest obstacles and challenges to getting to that point?
I suppose it would be a good thing to try and, I suppose, make sure that they're all under the one umbrella. But there are challenges around, I suppose. Ladies football and generally don't have their own pitches and stuff. So at the end of the day, that kind of thing will help the ladies football and the camogie and stuff. The challenges I can see, I suppose, is look, just the integration of, we'll say, the county boards and the management and the top managements and Munster councils, and like there's nearly 4 in every county. Do you know what I mean? So there's ladies football, there's camogie, there's hurling, and there's football boards in most counties. So the amalgamation of all that is going to take time. It's going to take a lot of effort, and it's going to take a lot of work from everybody from county board level up to Croke Park level. And I think that's the biggest integration problem that we're going to see. But as a player and as a coach and as a selector, I think it will be hugely beneficial if it does come in terms of logistics, in terms of pitches and stuff like that. But look, the sooner it happens, I suppose, the better. But I suppose it has to be done it has to be done slowly as well, because it has to be done right. If it's not done right, it's going to be it's just going to be very challenging altogether. But if it's done right, if it's done correctly, it'll be beneficial to all of the boards. So ladies football, camogie, GAA, and the GAA as well.
Well, Elaine, it's been fantastic speaking to you this morning. I wish you the very best of luck as we head into the championship next weekend, and hopefully we'll have some very good days before 2023 is over. Elaine Harte, thank you very much for talking to Tipp GAA.